When you talk about liberties and rights and other things, if you don't know your birthright, not what you guess it is, not what you believe it is, not how you feel, you better know what you're talking about. And if you start mixing futile conversation in an allodial claim, you lost. So get it through your head, this is why we must correct each other. And so you hear, so when we start making mistakes, we know where we're going with what we're trying to say, but it's your responsibility to pull each other's coattail, because when you get out in the real world, they're going to take your head off. Yeah. It is no different than we sitting here, we boxing and training and stuff, we doing all like this, all cute, all like that. And then you get in the ring and they go, boom. And then you go in the ring talking about the ref jumped me, and everybody there hit me with the sneaks too. And the trainer know you lying. Usually they're doing selfies and got hit. And this happens to us in the real world. So we're in here, we're discussing details. That's why we want you to participate, because in the real world, they're going to take your head off. Do you all get this? It ain't racism, it ain't prejudice, it's birthright theft. Race arguments and prejudice arguments and color games are designed conversion deceptions. They're false arguments. And it's stealing your birthright for the last 150, 60 years. And they've been paying Negro leaders 501c3 skull and bone kickbacks to keep the black Negro thing going like it's legitimate, and you all been believing that. Therefore, in law, you've been declared incompetent, and wards of the state. And they've been cheating your estates from generation to generation because you're declared incompetent. Are we clear? This is why we're going through this. So we want you to see Clearfield ain't going for it. Neither should you. So you can use, like the brother said, you can use these arguments. See, it's the principle of the argument. It's not the Clearfield doctrine. The doctrine evolved out of principle. Do you understand? And that's the name given to it. But it is the principle of constitutional enforcement. And you imposters ain't government. You've been faking getting this over with dummies who think that human beings are Negroes and colors. And think that human beings are colored. This game has been for them. Y'all ain't pulling on us. That's what the Clearfield doctrine is. Do you understand? Yeah. However, knowing the truth about their nationality and birthright, you can use this law case as stare decisis in any argument. Because they're not government. They've been exercising authority that don't belong to them, and you've been allowing them to get away with it, and your nigger leaders have been promoting it while getting paid by them. Islam. Are we clear? Yeah. That's why half of them brand sheep don't like Taji guy. Because when I expose you to this, it exposes them too. It exposes what the sellout is in the Moorish movement. And why Drew Ali had to adopt that affidavit to protect the movement. And why they don't teach civics. Because it's the fundamental rules. When people are believers, they're like little boys and girls. You send them to the mall, they get an ice cream cone, and they come back with 2 cents and talk about it was a matter of interpretation. You say, well, ice cream cone costs $1.98 and gave you a 100 note. And you come back with 2 cents and you talk about it was a matter of interpretation. And see, in the name of religion, they've been getting away with that kind of crap for generations with believers. But you don't get away with that with scholars. Do you understand? Go ahead, sis, give sis a mic. Give sis a mic. Who got the mic? Who got the mic?
There's one right here.
Pass it up. The Clearfield doctrine is based on that principle with somebody who knows the real politics. All right? Do you understand? Meaning they weren't taking the hit. Go ahead, sis. Islam.
I just wanted to add, in addition to them not teaching civics, my daughter came home maybe a month ago and informed me that she also is not getting vocabulary words or spelling words.
Of course.
But how do you read?
Good. Now, I'm going to answer that in a minute after we go through the Clearfield. Remind me, because I'm going to read you the philosophy page of the General Education Board. Now, this is back to your responsibility as a parent, our responsibility as parents, and what we've been doing to our own babies when we don't even read the philosophy page of the institution that we send them to, and this is what they count on. We're so lazy and we're so smoked in the brain with our beliefs that they don't even hide it what they're going to do to your babies. They publish it, tell you to your face. We're going to fart on them, make them extreme dummies, and use them to hell up, and you're going to deliver them gladly. You mean they wrote that? Well, sort of. It's in the red. You know what I mean? And then all you leader guys and leader girls and all these organizations that have been taking tithing and donations for this and that, ain't told you this stuff? Well, we're going to tell you, that's why you're here. It's your responsibility to take this knowledge and apply it. Are we clear? Now, we're going to go through this, and I'm going to take you to the philosophy page of General Education Board. To assist the reader in recognizing the proper status for oneself and the conceptual hereditament nature of the reversioner, one needs to know the political consciousness necessarily associated to it. So let us review some aspects of and about what has come to be known as the Clearfield Doctrine. The following statement is in itself a synopsis of the ruling stating and establishing the Supreme Court's constitutionally measured position on the case involving a stolen check for $24.20, drawn on the Treasurer of the United States to Claire Barner, an employee for the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia. Remember that history and law are to always be studied, referenced, and conjoined as one in a proper course of study or analysis of history. Are we clear? Clear. Now, I don't have to tell you that you and our children aren't taught law and history together in school. They're told that they're separate subject matters. Understand that's deliberate for social engineering. So that when these children come out, they graduate, they can't compete. And then you wonder why they can't compete. But they got certificates that you sit on the wall. They don't know that certificates are bank bonds. That means I'm educated. No, that means you're bank bond. Now you understand some of the statements that Noble Drawley said. He knew exactly what he's talking about. Now, a failure or hesitance of one to adhere to this conjoining principle, that's relative to history and law, will almost always cause one to gravitate toward or blindly accept misconceptions and misinterpretations of history. Another drawback is a failure to conjoin law and history is that such carelessness may also corrupt one's opinions or concepts about the intents and the motives of some people, some acts, or some events when addressing the human condition in relationship to national and international intercourse. Observe the relationship that the Clearfield Doctrine has to the breach of trust action as manifested by the members of the United States Congress via their misprision deemed as the Act of Congress, February 2nd, 1871. Stare decisis is a term in law that means to stand by decided cases and to uphold precedents and to maintain former adjudications. The doctrine of stare decisis rests upon the principle that the laws by which men are governed should be fixed, definite, and known, and that when the law is declared by court of competent jurisdiction authorized to construe it, such declaration in absence of a palpable mistake or error in itself evidence of the law until changed by competent authority. Thus, the law phrase stare decisis en non queta movere which means to adhere to precedents and not to unsettle things which are established. Is that not constitutional principle, y'all? And treaty principle? Now you understand why they overthrew it? In order to set up this oligarchy for themselves? The Clearfield Doctrine. United States Supreme Court, Clearfield Trust Company versus United States. 318 U.S. 363-371, 1942, the Clearfield Doctrine. Governments descend to the level of a mere private corporation and take on the characteristics of a mere private citizen, where private, corporate, commercial paper, Federal Reserve notes, and securities, checks, is concerned. For purposes of suit, such corporations and individuals are regarded as entities entirely separate from government. Do you all understand that?
Entirely.
Do you understand that?
So when they receive, sorry.
This is predicated on the coup d'etat of 1861, though not stated in the case. Those who know law already know what this is saying. Now you need to know what it's saying. You need to know that you can use this in any case in relationship to any states of jurisdiction, persons claiming to be government or courts, because they're not courts, they're human trafficking venues pretending to be courts. With administrators private on the Global World Trust for the Jesuit order pretending to be judges until you call them judge, then you just authorize them. Now, if you know the truth about your nationality and birthright, you won't make that mistake, will you? Will you? Go ahead, get on the mic. Any questions, make sure you get the mic. Because we want it on tape, y'all. Because we need for you to be clear on these matters. I don't want you to hear these things and then not be effective with it. Do you understand? I don't want you to look at this as Taji guys information. I'm giving you facts to raise you up in your consciousness and in your competence so that you can protect your birthright and your nationality just like it's my obligation. Are we clear? Because every man, woman, and child must confess their own. In other words, I can't confess it for you. You must confess it for yourself. And when you're standing before them magistrates who've been pretending to be judges who have been robbing you, if you call them judge or officer, you just give them your birthright. Because they're private corporate entities operating under unum sanctum, stealing your birthright under colonial occupation. Are we clear? They're not government, except that in your delusion, keep calling them that with the help of your quote-unquote black leaders who are paid off to promote that Negro black crap that puts you under the Christian black codes that you've been complaining about while marching all over the place, disturbing the peace. And wasting your time. Are we clear? Go ahead, brother.
So that means that anything that's calling themselves government, as soon as they ask you for any specific performance, especially that of a commercial instrument,
it is no different than somebody. That's like me or you going to McDonald's, Burger King, coming there and saying, "Let me see, I want some fries and stuff." They say they did the ketchup and stuff. And then all of a sudden, manager comes out behind. You can see him in the back putting a jacket on that he bought down at the Navy store, sticking the badge on. And he put the badge on, come out. Hey, your sneaks is tied together. You know, you can't come in here with your sneaks tied together. You know, that's a fine. That's a violation of the state of New Jersey. And then you go, oh, I gotta get another job. And, yeah, and that's a fine at $500 in course of court. And you start believing it. It is absolutely no different. This is what they've been getting away with. And you've been allowing them to get away with it. For not carrying out through Ali what he told you 102 years ago.
Islam.
Help me in my great missionary work to bring my people back into the constitutional fold of government, enforcing our Constitution for the United States of America. Failure to do so, the worst is yet to come. Now you're all catching the worst. I'm just telling you what's happening to you right now. That's why we're going through this, because a lot of people still don't get what Drew Ali did. And it's universal. It's not private club. These are universal principles of government. And our people don't know basic third grade government.
That's all it is.
Clearfield Doctrine is taking you back to your basics that you've been cheated from. Are we clear?
Clear.
Now you understand some of the added degrees that Malcolm found out, and when they couldn't buy him up, they murdered him, because you find that everybody's dirty. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? That French Muslim, Malcolm went over that black and white stuff, and you know, the black man, white man, devil stuff, you know. But since we making a lot together, don't come over that white and black stuff. Some Europeans know more Islam than you'll ever know. To you all, Maghrib is Wednesday Salat. To the rest of the civilized world, Maghrib is Morocco, the most extreme West. Brother, you left home. That's why Malcolm, when they couldn't buy him off, he stood up there. What was the password of the Jesuits? Get your hand out of our pocket. Judas's. And they spent more time slandering his character than anything else, then and even up to this day. This is some of the information that you get once you get past supreme wisdom in the Nation of Islam. It's called added degrees. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told them after they went through actual facts and everything, said, the supreme wisdom will be handed you later. As a matter of fact, they used to open up the meetings mentioning Noble Drew Ali. Then they stopped doing that. Well, that's the truth. So I'm giving you the history to let you understand the real politics that's operating here. So anybody from any organization, anywhere in North America that's talking about any rights belong to these people called Negro, Black, Colored, people of color, whatever brand they put them, and they don't tell you this history, you already know they're cooperative. That's why I'm giving this to let you understand why Drew Ali said to you, he says, look, y'all don't get this twisted. I'm a universal prophet. And my philosophy will be universal. I only came to you more as my people because you need me the most. Translation, they don't own him.
Right.
He came for humanity. Are we clear?
Clear.
Just you first, because you're the lowest. You're the ones that need it the most. Why? Because the estate is yours. And all the other Asiatic African countries have fallen because you fell. And they can't rise until you rise. And we still deal with belief systems, and the rest of the world deal with mathematics and geometry. And you deal with beliefs that was given to you by Rome and coveted and protected by your Negro leaders who are paid off by skull and bones with 501c3. Now they got 501c4s. And y'all been falling for it and putting it on your own babies and then blaming the devil for it. A control system set up by the priesthood across the board. Whether they're Muslim, Christians, or Jews, all of them been playing the games on our people, and all of them been coming into your communities and feeding on you like dead carcasses.
Yes, Islam.
Clearfield Company says, you ain't pulling that on us.
Right.
Are we clear?
Clear.
So the truth and the provable facts about the law principled nature of the Clearfield Doctrine must be known and recognized by all true Aboriginal American Al-Moroccan nationals, being the natural peoples and true heirs of the land, America. What the Clearfield Doctrine is saying and establishing in stare decisis law is that when private commercial paper is used by corporate government, specifically referencing the governing officers and offices of and for the United States, small case United States, uppercase US, then that said government lost its sovereignty status and became no different than any other mere private corporation. Those degraded legislative acts of delusion exposed that the public officers, quote unquote, of government breached their constitutional and binding oaths of trust and embraced for private profit those principles that are directed toward treason. In reference to the compromise Congress for the United States, see and research other documented sources made available for additional historical references. Also, one is advised to review and to analyze the motives of the members of the Congress via their actions spanning that 10-year period of North American occupational history, 1861 to 1871. Review their legislative and political actions leading up to those of May the 10th of 1861, involving the activities leading up to the members of the United States Congress adjourning sine die, and culminating with the Act of Congress February 2nd, 1871. Within that 10-year span of time, note the impact of some of these other relevant acts and events. 1. The construction and issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation as misrepresented and issued after Congress's multiple modifications. 2. The creation and activation of the Bureau of Refugees, Freedmen, and Abandoned Lands, known by the abbreviated misnomer, the Freedmen's Bureau, established 1865. The same institution was deliberately mismanaged, and with its contrived underfunding and design mission having been deliberately squandered by its administrators, causing the Bureau to be extinguished and closed in 1868. The creation of the fictional peonage operations of the corporate person man of straw established via the spurious 14th Amendment, 1868, and contrived by the personating and de facto corporate governing pseudo-Congress body politics members. As such, and in its degraded and defaulted status, United States Corporation entity, being a now private for-profit entity as opposed to public, became the de facto and now corrupted and debased entity styled as the U.S. democracy. This unconstitutional entity must at all times be distinguished from the constitutional republic. Although the same associated pseudo-Congress body of men were operating de facto as government, they had actually and unlawfully abandoned their constitutional offices. Thereby, the once deemed as legitimate United States government via its constitutional officers had failed in its and their designated and limited delegated powers and trust purposes of existence. From May, day 10 of 1861, the members of the cabal claiming to be Congress for the United States Republic were in fact imposters, having abrogated and altered and private version of and a mirroring of the organic constitution of which any office or entity must be a creature. Are we clear? The said de facto government, which was created via that stated misprision, then becomes and became bound by the inferior and common rules and laws that govern, quote unquote, private corporations. This stated condition of corruption definitely means that if they, the de facto government officials, the de facto government agency contractors, all de facto government employees, or any of their hired personnel who try, portend, or intend to demand, to enforce, or to compel an individual or any natural person to do or to act upon some specific performance based upon their now private for-profit corporate statutes, or to make any of the said demands based upon the de facto government's now private for-profit corporate rules, corporation rules, then the alleged officers or agents of the government de facto, like any other private limited for-profit private corporation, must provably be a holder in due course of a valid and verifiable contract, quote unquote, or by other evidentiary proof of a valid commercial agreement mutually made between it, the government or agency, and the one individual or natural person, etc., upon whom their private law compelling rules or demands for specific performance are made. And furthermore, the demanding persons alleging to be government must be willing to enter the physical, manifest, contract, or commercial agreement into evidence even before trying to get to the court to enforce its private commercial demands called statutes. The Clearfield Trust versus United States case is extremely important because it is a later 1942 case which was litigated after the Erie Railroad versus Tompkins case, which many of you are familiar with who are scholars. 304 U.S. 64, 1938. The Erie Railroad versus Tompkins case is a case in which the de facto courts under the now de facto U.S. corporation operatives attacked the Constitution and altered the once legitimate legislatures and judiciary, and under a color of law and a color of authority, changed from legislating under quote-unquote public law, constitutional, which is harmonious and in consonance with the American Constitution, and to the contrary, became breach of trust operatives and deviant foreign actors, creating entities doing foreign for-profit extortion business and exercising foreign powers and colorable activities. And upon these platforms, the de facto Congress and their franchise states of entity members began legislating under public policy, according to, accommodating to, generating profits for, and catering to the desires and the wishes of the private, foreign, for-profit, unum sanctum creditors of the United States Corporation, being a private corporation company. Note the unconstitutional and unlawful private corporation, commercial paper, and securities being the privately owned Federal Reserve notes and the corporate states of and spuriously created birth certificates constructed by, administratively used by, and sold by the private foreign owners, officers, employees, beneficiaries, profiteers, agents, barators, and agencies, doing business as United States of America Corporation Company, and practiced by members of their chartered and licensed franchisees, etc. These private corporate commercial paper contrivances have been and are deceptively traded as fungible instruments. Such misrepresentations and deceptive practices have been and are declared by the United States Supreme Court as being criminal and felonious violations of the law. Securitization, which is the wrongful process and practices of homogenizing financial instruments into fungible securities, and the selling of such felonious instruments on the securities market was and is unlawful and illegal for private corporations. So the United States Supreme Court Clearfield Trust Company, right? You see, governments descend to the level of a mere private corporation and take on the characteristics of a mere private citizen, where private commercial paper, Federal Reserve notes, that's what you must now call it. Whenever you deal with, if you call it money, you just neutralize your argument. Are we clear? You must call it what it is. It's private commercial paper. When you make any transaction, don't say that you bought, you sold anything. Say that you traded under force, under duress. Your private commercial paper. Of the kingship oligarchy, which is the people pretending to be Congress. And the securities, which any checks you get are really securities, is concerned. For purposes of suit, such corporations and individuals are regarded as entities entirely separate from government. So now you see what the representatives for the Clearfield Trust Company were dealing with, because they know that these people ain't government. They know the only people that think that they're government is people called Negroes and blacks, who are chattel property, who are actually the stock for them since the Civil War. Are we clear? which is why they've been miseducated, and which why their leaders are paid to call them Negro and black and run around marching all around the place talking about civil rights, which is 14th Amendment, which is stock, and they think it means citizenship. Are we clear? And for those who are confused, you can write this down, do your research later. 55 Water Street, New York. That's where your bonds are. All your Negro stuff, all your marriage certificates, birth certificates, which are all bank bonds. They ain't got nothing to do with Jesusness. And watch the rice that Rev throws at you. Or he's trying to blind you because he gets kicked back too for that bond. When he takes that marriage certificate down to vital statistics, it's a bank bond. You pay him and they pay him too. And he goes back talking about Jesus and he really working for Rome. Do you understand? Now, since we're going to go back to this, I want you all to write down any questions you have, and we're going to go to the General Education Board. And so you can comprehend what your daughter was talking about. But again, remember, this is your responsibility to have known this. So how can your daughter, if the parent doesn't know, what chance do the children have?
Islam.
Meanwhile, we know Jesus, God, Allah, and everything. We all know all this stuff. And we be sending our children to Rome to screw them. And then we want to talk about the debt that they're in and the miseducation that they're getting. And then they come back and start stealing your estate for the debts that they claim you have that don't damn exist. Coming from your own estate. Anyway, let's go past this. Anyway, the General Education Board, these are creators and the founders. John D. Rockefeller and Frederick T. Gates in the year 1902. For those of you who know history, you know that's after they murdered Queen Winona at what they call Lover's Leak in Philadelphia. That's that rock that all these people from all around the world come down on Kelly Drive and go through that park and everything to the mounds. And that's one of our mounds where the art museum is. One of your biggest mounds. These people only know their own history. And they murdered Queen Winona and they got a statue right at the base of the art museum. That's why they had Rocky running up the steps. That's Queen Winona right there being assassinated symbolically right there. They Europeanized her face. And 1902 they murdered her. They set up the Education Board. And the Mummers Parade is celebration of your fall right there in Philadelphia. And they assemble at 6 and Moor Street. They don't even hide it because they know these people can't read. And they're pretty much distracted by their black leaders. Most of who are 32-degree Masons. While pretending they're not. And it's not a Moorish fest. Anyway, let's get down to the philosophy base, sis. So you make sure that baby girl reads this, and you read this too. And you make sure you share it. Now, those of you who I've shared stuff with on flash drives, this is included on that flash drive so you can read it yourself. Now, this is a philosophy, this is public knowledge. And then these people keep on marching their babies to these demons. Philosophy, founders of the General Education Board, which is now called the Board of Education. All are, what, part of the John D. Rockefeller Foundation, private. In our dreams, we have limitless resources. Why? That's those Federal Reserve notes, all counterfeit. And the people yield themselves with perfect docility to our molding hands. The present education conventions fade from their minds. And unhampered by tradition, we work our own goodwill upon a grateful and responsive rural folk. We shall not try to make these people or any of their children into philosophers or men of learning or men of science. We have not to raise up from among them authors, editors, poets, or men of letters. We shall not search for embryo great artists, painters, musicians, nor lawyers, doctors, preachers, politicians, statesmen, of whom we have an ample supply. The task we set before ourselves is very simple, as well as a very beautiful one, to train these people as we find them, to a perfectly ideal life just where they are. So we will organize our children and teach them to do in a perfect way the things their fathers and mothers are doing in an imperfect way. In the homes, in the shops, and on the farm. General Education Board. Now, when you ask that question about your daughter, if you had read this, you wouldn't have been surprised or disappointed, would you? How many parents have been sending their children to these institutions and never even read their philosophy page, and it's public? This is why they say, if you want to hide something from them monkeys, the name for monkey, scientific name for monkey is nigger. Put it in a book. Because they don't read. They only deal with beliefs that we give them. That's why you're in trouble. It's also why you're here at the House of Reawakening Minds. Because we deal with issues that deal with the theft of your estate. It is your responsibility to start re-educating yourself and share this information with those who don't know. Because you know, and I know, half these people with degrees swear they know what's happening. Yet the communities reflect broken families, dying youth, single women trying to raise children with half their men in prison on bank bonds and don't know it's under consent, by European colonists who have been pretending to be government since 1861 and have been promoted as legitimate government by your black leaders who got 501c3 kickback agreements with them and licensed and franchised by them, and telling you that these people are government, and you sit around talking about their judges, and they are private auctioneers. And all of your leaders know this. That's why all your Negro leader guys, 90% of every one of these leader guys are running these black organizations as some reverend. They're working for Rome, not for you. Get over yourself, get over your egos, wake up and start liberating yourself and liberating your babies, and stop pretending that you're spiritual when you haven't been. Stop being a fraud. Stop being colored. Because that's what it means, a fraud. Are we clear?
Clear.
Very clear. He gave me the mic. I have nothing.
I can't hear you.
He gave-
I'm sorry.
Before you're singing, but
I know, he get, look, I have to
Digest.
absorb this
Yeah,
now.
digest that, huh?
and keep this in mind, the rest of the world don't feel sorry for you. You know, and this, when they tell you, and this is what the world says concerning these people
Right.
who talk about people of color like it means Afrocentricity. They don't know it means fake people. They can't even damn read. Ignorance of the law is no excuse, because the foundation of law comes from the honor of your mothers and their fathers. And for those who honor not their mothers and fathers, they have lost their estate. So the civilized world does not feel sorry for them, because every man, every woman, and every child must confess their own, and we have not. And thus, this is the loss of your estate. And the Dungey case is just an example of 1855, of the same argument that Noble Raleigh brought back to you in 1913, and the people have been ignoring him. Not everybody, but even those who have been listening, many of their concepts are still incorrect of how to look at what he's done. That's why he said it might take 50 years for some of you to recognize what I brought to you. And he says, study well. When you would have studied well and would ask me what to study next, I would reply, study yourselves.
Selves.
Go back
Plural.
to the state of mind of your ancient mothers and fathers. And what do we keep on doing? Playing belief systems and getting screwed. Because we refuse to render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. And then we keep getting our keisters kicked, then we start new marching organizations and don't even understand the people that we've been dealing with aren't government. Then we go make applications, which sanctions them. Then we want to march and pray because we get mistreated because they're stealing your birthright. And still call them stealing your birthright, say they're prejudiced. We got to make them understand that people of color is somebody. You know, we're out to lunch. We're absolutely out to lunch. That's why in the Dungey case I show you the etymology of black. It doesn't even mean anything about, it actually means pale and light colors. It means the dark melanin of the hotepness of Africa. They laughing at our people all the way to the bank while we trying to be Afrocentric like we deep. See this right here? This means the regenerations of Hotep, of the blackness of, I think. Oh, we're full of it. Nobody takes us serious. Then we get mad. Oh, they want to diss a brother. No, they look at us like we full of doo-doo. Simply because we are.
Full of doo-doo.
Yeah, we are. But our egos are so big that we won't even listen to fundamental facts. We get more into the business of protecting the image of our leader guys and leader girls who've been playing us than to deal with the facts that are universal. This is why we brought up the Dungey case. No new argument.
Right.
And this is why we bring up the Clearfield Doctrine to show you where it evolved from. Because the Clearfield Trust Company said, you pull this stuff on these dumb niggas that don't read, but y'all ain't getting this off on us. And they won. And so out of that case comes what is called the Clearfield Doctrine. And what does that doctrine mean? It means the restoration of the organic Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. Because this other crap is BSD. It's nigger laws for dumb niggers who lost their birthright and refused to honor their mothers and fathers. But you ain't getting that off on us. And on principle, we're going to fight you. Clearfield Doctrine.
74 years ago.
Are we clear? Are everybody clear on this?
Clear.
All right. You got that, sis?
I got it.
All right.
Down, but
Get the mic.
Can't hear you, we can't hear you.
okay. I really don't have I don't think it's really a question, but it's like, okay, now I have this, but now I have to go speak to the principal?
Now, hold on.
They're not.
No.
That was okay. Anyway,
No.
okay, so
Stop.
how do we fix this? Like, where do
What makes you think that you want to go to the auctioneer and tell him stop being an auctioneer when that's his job?
homeschool?
Oh, well, hold on. I'm going to back you up. The Dungey case. Why did I give you the Dungey case? In the black status, you don't have the authority to do it. Because you're Christian property under the black status. That's what the suitcase was all about.
Okay.
Because under the black status, you lose your birthright. You have no right.
Okay.
No, well, listen. In your proper person, you have an argument. But then your argument must be competent.
That's right.
Which is again why, before we did the Clearfield, we went into the Dungey case to show you it in operation. Are we clear?
Clear.
Because if you don't understand that the Christian black codes steal your birthright, and you go to some administrative court or to some agency under the United States Corporation and start talking about rights, the longer you talk, the more you're in contempt. And then when they start doing the black codes to you, then you start marching and praying, you might get stomped into the ground. Because you're their cattle.
Right. Okay. I'm good.
And the sooner we understand the real history and law, the sooner we'll stop claiming falsely to be Negroes and blacks, which puts us under the black codes that we're complaining about. But if you confess that you're Negro, black, or colored, you come under them Christian black codes, and if you don't like it, tough cookies, because you have no rights without the honor of your mothers and your fathers. It's called civil intermortus, stand in the view of the law. You walk up there talking about rights and liberties, they're going to stop you outside the wall. And if somebody goes to jail, you'll be lucky. And if they go to jail, it's only for the public. They'll be in there 2 weeks, and then to settle down, they stop marching and stuff, then they put them out the back door.
That's right. That's right.
And it's been going on forever. And the leaders that have you marching around getting paid off to keep you doing that stupid stuff, when they know that these people ain't black. Know that these people are Moors. Dungey case, that's why I opened up with the Dungey case. Are we clear?
Clear.
That's 5 years before Lincoln was holding the office with the enumerated powers. So there's no new issue. But the principle is universal. Are we clear?
Yeah.
And what Dungey's case is, for the natural person, the personage or the personage under the principle of entity, being the Clearfield Trust Company, operating on that same principle. Y'all ain't pulling that nigga codes on us. That's what the Clearfield Doctrine is. Anybody knows law knows based on the coup d'etat of 1861 that these people ain't government. They're European colonists pretending to be Americans and getting you to keep calling them white man, which means sovereign, and getting you to keep calling them calling them Americans, which makes them sovereign. And you keep calling the U.S. a country, which makes them sovereign over your estate. Clearfield Doctrine. Are we clear?
Clear.
Are we clear, good brother?
Clear now.
All right. Now in law, you must be clear, because when we're amongst family, right? We correct each other, we pull we go through the semantic clearing. In the real world, you in the ring, you jumping like it's all cute and all this stuff. See, I did my feet like this and stuff. And all they do is trip you. Oh, little rep, they ain't fighting fair. No, you get in that ring, they're going to try to take your head off. It is the same way when you get out in the real world. Do you understand? We've been telling people, House Joint Resolution 2847 for the last 7 years, take your fiat out their banks because they're going to steal it. They still didn't listen to us. Now it's their account, it's not yours. And they're going to use it to liquidate their private debt. Do you understand? So we're telling you, you don't have to listen. But in very short order, you're going to find out that you don't have no account. And your stuff's going to start bouncing. I thought that was a check. That was rubber. This basketball, season is coming to end. Go ahead.
No, listen, y'all, it's really making sense to me now, because I want to say last year around this time, I had a friend that needed me to rent a car for, okay? I didn't have a bank account. They wouldn't give me a bank account because I owed PNC money from, this was my first bank account.
You were alleged, continue.
Listen, years ago, I just want to get to this word, because I'm still learning, so I can't, say it properly, so you're not going to forgive me, but I just want to say what you're saying makes a whole lot of sense, because last year around this time, I tried to open up a bank account so I could rent the car. Wasn't happening. Every bank I went to kept bringing up the $75 from 2003. All of a sudden, so I went to go pay them. I went to go trade with them or whatever. So I went to go do it. I'm like, I want a bank account now, right? I went to go give them the money 2-3 weeks ago. Oh, the money. Oh, what money do you owe us? There's no money. We'll give you $50 if you. I was like, oh yeah, sign me up for the checking account. But yeah, so all of this time they would never give me a bank account. Now all of a sudden I'm cool again. So they probably just set me up to take it, just saying, they set me up, and then all of a sudden, yeah, you can have a bank account now, but, so that was, okay. Just wanted to add to that. I'm done now.
The flash drive you just gave me.
For real this time.
No, yours. The one you just gave me.
That's yours.
I just did you copy it?
I did some stuff.
Oh, you good?
Mother has a question.
You good? You good, right? You copied it, you got it on your flash, you got it on your computer?
No, you gotta get it all. Get it
You have it
all.
on your computer?
I took some stuff.
You have it on your computer?
Yeah.
Did you transfer it, look, you ain't talking straight.
Yeah.
You have it on your computer, did you put that on your desktop?
Yeah, I have some.
Up.
You take this back, you take that folder and you put it on your desktop.
No.
April, did you take that folder and put it on your desktop?
Yes, sir.
Up.
April.
April,
No, I mean the whole.
did you take that folder? Oh,
Take,
that's your flash drive?
put it.
That flash drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to you, man. I gotta get
April.
baby.
Frenchie, what you gonna do with her? What you gonna do with her, Frenchie? Yes, that's true.
Listen. Now, the reason I gave that to you is because that's more than 20 years of knowledge. It'll take you more than 10 years to really get down with that. It'll give you knowledge that's more than your age. That people who should have given it to you at birth been holding it back and been playing with you. I didn't give it to you for you to take some of it. Transfer that folder on the top of your laptop. Are we clear?
Yeah. Clear.
Hold on. Keep them separate because I got to give everybody their stuff. I can't hear you. You're talking soft. I know. Look, don't stop being.
Yeah, don't be shy.
I ain't picking on you.
We home.
But I want you to be clear with this information. Are we clear? Yes. Now, I want you to have that folder. I want you to go in there in your spare time. I want you to start opening stuff and I want you to study. Because it's going to clean up your concepts. You're not just going to deal with the one issue. Do you understand? Now, yeah. Oh. Your concepts. Remember, this is what's happening. You know the term baptism or being reborn with a new mind? It is a collage of information that's deliberately. I could put more on there, but I chose certain subject matter because I already know that people who know, a lot of people won't tell you. I mean, it's like this. This is what happens. Says this is what happens. She's a baby. She's like our baby. People who should have been giving this to her and should have given it to you were signed 102 years ago. A lot of them know that the same dedication that she puts into trying to get a job, if she studied this information with that same fervor, she would have this young body, but she would be a matriarch, capable of running things, capable of administrating government. She could run a temple, a church, mosque, a synagogue, a university. No one could come to her with a contract and get over on her. No one could give her a sharecropping document making her think it's a mortgage and think she's owning. She would not be played. And some of these grand sheiks and sheikesses are so bitterly greedy, selfish, and jealous, they won't transfer the information because they know that some of these people, when they get this information, they will advance past them so quick and unseat them. And so they play mystery games with them, which is not what Drawley came for. He came to make you priests unto yourselves. He says, I've taken the cover off of all secret organizations. Now you have no more excuses. So I gave you that folder. Do you understand? You put that folder on your laptop and you study it, not just the incident. If we had the time, and we were talking before,
Right.
and I like to, we're both busy. Get together again, I want to see what you did. Because I don't usually do that, but I want to see what you did because it's important to me that you get it. Go ahead.
You can put it up and like explain like everyone like what
Come on.
went wrong. And
Show me. Talk. Right here.
explain every person.
Now, Thomas E. Leopold, acting in his private capacity as district attorney, working under a private corporation. Now, I'm going to show you minor. Now, April, as you all know, many of you don't know, now you know her now. This is her beautiful mother, they look like sisters.
Yes.
Go, girl, go ahead, girl, she got it going on.
Yeah, Frenchie, go ahead, Frenchie.
Take his skates off. Anyway. Now, she, you want to share a little bit of information? Come on, share with us. Because the fact, we're here to help each other. Keep this in mind. When we come together, and this is the way it's supposed to be in the Moorish Science Temple, when there's an issue, you're supposed to bring it to chambers. Because they're empowered to make laws. Since they haven't been doing their job, we expect you all to do. Because we're a community, we're family. Are we clear?
Clear.
Yeah, the nation is out there. It doesn't matter whether you're church, mosque, or synagogue, your bloodline, your Moors. It is your duty and responsibility to be your brother's keeper. Are you clear?
Clear.
We're all suffering from Roman occupation. This is our baby. You do not allow Rome to screw over her and you not enforce the law.
That's
but
right.
you can't enforce what you do not know. Are we clear?
Clear.
Which is why I'm giving you this so that you can comprehend what you're dealing with, because knowledge is power, and once you understand who you are and who they are not, you will talk different, think different, act different, write different.
That's right.
Do you understand? And when they steal your birthright, you're supposed to rebut them. Are we clear?
Clear.
She is drafting a writ.
Okay.
Right? Now, this is what you must always do. Always think like this. In admiralty law, which is what they're dealing with, booty and prize, are we clear? They're bringing the laws of the seas upon the land. But they're doing it under the guise of government to deceive people to think that they have the authority to do what they're doing. But they're stealing your birthright. Are we clear? Now, yes, she's on the path, right? Now, critique her not as mother, but critique her like you're her enemy. Not because you are, it's because you must protect her by looking at the holes that the enemy would see. If you're training her boxing, right? Or parent, you tell her, April, you know the earrings is tight and everything, girl, and I like the braids and stuff, but don't be doing selfies in the ring. Put that left up. Guard yourself at all times. Don't be going, no, don't do that. Because they're going to go, kapiko, and expect it in the real world. So don't play.
Right.
Do you understand? They're to steal your birthright. They ain't playing with you. Do you understand? But listen. So Thomas E. Leopold, right, acting in his private capacity as district attorney, this is what I would want. Now, see, district attorney for who? For what? What corporate entity?
Right.
Located where? Right? Working under a private corporation. What private corporation? Name the corporation. You name the living man or woman that's claiming authority, acting for what corporate? Look up the corporate entity. So what is the corporation's name? I didn't hear you. Remember we talked before, you get on her.
About speaking up. We on.
Talk with authority, April. I want to, no, listen, this is what happens. This is what happens. You're modest. That's appreciated in the house. You go out in the world, you talk with that,
Peanut butter.
they will beat your diapers off. Mercilessly. You and all of us must understand what birthright theft is. Birthright theft is, they need you, April, to demonstrate that passivity.
Truth.
Because Bergenser, Dinkeldorf, goes to the highest colleges on your estate. While you're going,
That's true.
you better speak up. When you, and that's a plural you, show any weakness in your dispensation to these alleged trustees, is like a bloody rabbit running through a fenced field and wolves are standing at the gate. And y'all want to have a lunch discussion. You think your vote counts? I think not. Speak with authority, all right? Because they're stealing your birthright. Remember this, you all. Whenever you're doing writs, right? The other thing you want to do is always fly your colors. Why do you fly your colors? Like say if we're going fishing. We're going fishing, right? And we're going on a stream. It's cool, right? We can get a boat, raft, log, whatever. Now, but we're going in the ocean, not a river, in the ocean. You get past 20 miles out in that ocean, and that vessel don't be flying colors. Do you know what that's called? An abandoned ship. Do you understand? You can have 100 people on it. Somebody can come on it like pirates, like nobody exists. And anybody's on it can be thrown in the water, and that's international law, and guess what? The chance of getting remedy is slim. When you're dealing with under rules of occupation, and you're under occupation, the Europeans living off your virtues, you fly your colors. Do you know what that means in law? That's what it means. So, if I'm looking at an instrument, and I don't see you flying your national standard, that means they're not obligated to the treaty and the Constitution. Because you haven't held them to the law. What's your nationality, April?
Moorish American.
What's your nationality, April?
Moorish American.
What's your nationality, April?
Moorish American. Moorish American.
Thank you so much. Act like it. Because remember, I'm not pressuring you. What I'm trying to prepare you for the real world. And I understand it, and I'm not knocking it. I comprehend that you're young and you're still yet naive.
They don't see that.
And you're thinking moral and ethical. And you're expecting that. They're vampires.
They see
Did you get it? All right. So you don't have to be harsh, but you will be firm. Are we clear? And you're going to declare your birthright. You understand? And you're going to fly your colors. Let me show you an example. This is why I gave the flash drive, right? But I'm going to show you an example. Now, each one of these violations, you will make a paragraph naming the person and their natural person who did it. Who intimidated you? No. Each one of the claims, you would do 1, 2, 3. It may sound redundant. On such and such date, at such and such time, at such and such location, Thomas E. Leopold intimidated me by saying or doing such and such a thing where I don't have to ask you what he did. You're going to tell it. You're going to report. The same way you're making a book report. In law, you must say exactly what was done, time, date, location, whether there was witnesses, the officers, time, etc. And that will complete that intimidation. Slander. What did they do to slander? Same thing with the Dungey case. What they did, what they claimed, when they claimed it, blah, 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 blah. Misclassification, violation of law. That's a violation of international law. It's denationalization, etc. Or so that's an attack against your estate. All right? Entrapment. Say what it is. Explain it. I don't care if you come up with something this thick. Do you understand? So you're going to get back to work. We're going to talk again. We'll get back together. We're going to talk again.
Should
All
I
right?
explain the situation? So
Yeah. Now this is, all right, this is what happens. This is what happens. If we were dealing with your issue, it should be as thorough here that you could go to the movies and we'll see you when you come back. I put a manila envelope in front of you, in front of you, in front of you, in front of you. We sit at the table. We open up to page 1. We see a synopsis of what occurred. We see the parties in controversy, etc. Time, location, dates, and everything. Point for point for point. And we come back, we're thoroughly informed. There's little that we need to talk about. Are we clear? That's how thorough this must be. Are we clear? Because in law, if I was opposed, I could beat you up. Do you understand? I know because we talk. I know. But guess what? In opposition, they tear it apart. All law is specific. All claims must be specific. Because under the rule of discovery, they must be able to rebut this.
Right.
Do you understand?
I'm still learning. I'm like.
I know that you are. But I'm proud of you. I want you to know that. But I'm also interested in helping you because we already talked.
Right.
And I know you're under pressure. And I want you to win. I want them to look at this little girl walking in there, we got this little Negro in here, and discover that you're beyond queen degree. They underestimated this one, because this ain't your ordinary cookie. That's what I want. Do you understand? The totally unexpected. Why? Because you deserve justice.
That's right.
Islam.
You understand?
Yep.
You're the heir to the world's largest estate, but you've been absent of some information. That you know your bloodline is great, but you must also be competent. Are we clear? We're going to get back with that. All right? Go ahead.
I was just having a question.
Get a mic, because
I was just thinking that.
Oh, excuse me just a minute. I want you all to encourage April and give her a hand, because
right.
this little sister, she's been battling. Now, she's starting to draft her own writ, right? And so, and she's right in the ballpark, but we want to make sure that she's competent and that she doesn't miss the semantics. All right, so we'll deal with this. Now go ahead. But anyway, go ahead. We're fine with
My
this.
question to you was, whenever the so-called court centers anything, they have to establish.
Now, this is what you always want to say. Now listen.
Thank you.
Now, whenever, don't say the so-called courts, because the courts can't do anything. This is what we must be clear on.
Semantics.
The semantics of law argument is, this is what's happening. Mother, come on. Let's go with this. Come on, listen. You dropping something. Come on. This is what happens. Come on, let's go up the front. Now I want you to introduce yourself to everyone. This is sister and sister. No, mother and daughter.
Islam.
My name is Sister Parental Bey, and this is my daughter April Bey.
Now, this is what happens in law. Presenting! Go ahead. Present yourself.
Sister Parental Bey.
All right. You know what happens if you represented yourself?
Doors were open.
No, you would not be talking.
Oh.
And if you talk, now you're in contempt. Come over here, April. In law, when you claim to represent, one is a living being, the other is a cardboard. What happens if the cardboard start talking? That's why I say only a dummy tries to represent themselves. Because you can only be represented by another man or postcard. So representation is like a picture, photograph. So to present yourself, you must be in propria persona. You must be in proper person. How did the prophet begin to uplift the Moorish Americans?
By teaching them to be themselves.
If you doubt that the program that I have for redemption of my people and citizens is not correct, go to those who know law. So what is being yourself in law? In propria persona. To distinguish the real from the dead.
Alright, so instead of singing,
The corporation, corpse, its legacy, transmitting utility, man of straw, 14th Amendment person, is to steal your birthright. The Negro, black, and colored brands make you a representation, not the living. If you start speaking, you're already dead. So black, according to science, there you go. Colored is artificial, prima facie. Distinguished from that which is real. So, when you're making an argument, always distinguish the living from the corpse.
so you stand and
So
say,
the corpse, can the corpse send you anything? Did the court say anything?
No.
The court is a legal construct on paper. It is an illusion.
Okay.
Now, wait, get it? I want you to like.
I actually have the document that Thomas Leotold actually sent me, telling me to come down to his meeting room. And it said if I was to come, I could have a attorney, but if he was to come, I don't have to come.
All right, now, this is what's supposed to happen. The Grand Chief or Assistant Grand Chief of the Moor Science Temple, of which you're a member, is supposed to intervene. They're supposed to already have dealt with them. Of course, we know that they didn't.
I sent writs
So
out to
now-
the Supreme Court.
Say it again?
I sent writs out to the Supreme Court and to the International Criminal Justice.
Y'all see this, right?
Because you're making me nervous. Just like-
No, what I'm trying to tell you is stop speaking passively. Speak with authority. This is how they operate. This is how they operate. If you don't know your rights, and if you're not going to speak up for your rights, they're going to claim jurisdiction.
That's right.
If you don't take charge of your estate, they allude that you abandoned it. Because they're vampires, they're living off your virtues. You don't like turtlenecks? Them dots ain't lipstick. Yes, what it is. In other words, understand that colonists in politics equate what a leech is to biology. You swim in a dirty pond, you start feeling weighty. That's kind of, arms are getting tired. You get up on the other side, hey, you got a lot of freckles. I think they're leeches. You know, get used to it. You're under occupation. Why did Noel Raleigh present this information? Because he knew that we were asleep. He knows that we didn't know that we're the heirs to the world's largest estate. We don't know the real history. We've been thinking the Europeans are government. We've been colonized. They put their names on you that whatever you buy or sell with the mark or the number of that name makes you their property. It's called conversion. Write this down. Get used to this, y'all. Get used to this. Conversion. That conversion is then, now this is, we went over this before, understand the politics. Lincoln being a member of the Bar Association, this is another reason why the Dungey case is important, could not hold office to the organic United States. Do you understand? So they ran him for president of the Service Corporation registered in France, which is called the United States Service Corporation. That was set up by Benjamin Franklin, 1754. Are we clear? After the Red House fell with his Al-Andalus, that's where Michelle went when Obama went to Egypt and exposed that the American Constitution comes from Muslim law. All right? They set up a global world trust. Conquered peoples and lands are administered under the global world trust. Are we clear? All corporate operations of all Western Hemisphere governments, period, European nations, are members of the Roman Curia. Write that down. They're all members of the Roman Curia. They all know this. Anyone in position of power must belong to a secret society. You understand? Whether Mason, it's all Masonry. Mother and son, study. And they wear Moorish fez. Now this is known by all scholars, all government heads, all leader guys, all leader girls. Swipe that. And when you think they don't know it, this is why I took you to the military training manual, so that you understand that they all know the difference between democracy and republic. Keep this in mind, y'all, because we're only going to hit this again. We have to hit this continuously, because when we ask you certain questions, we want to see 98% of your hands raised, not 10